Welcome to another episode of Financial 15, the show where Kevin and I try to provide some financial knowledge, help improve your situation, do all of that in 15 minutes or less. And today we're talking about old age security, specifically whether or not you should defer your OAS pension. We're going to get into that. You want to stick around.
Yes, we get a lot of questions in regard to government pensions and how they operate and whether or not I should take them early, late, can I defer them, whatever the case may be. So please, if you want to watch this or any of the other videos on that, go to our website at beckerorr.com or like us on Facebook or visit our YouTube channel where all of these are posted for you to see. So to start the day today, Clint, should I defer my OAS? What are the criteria? What do we have to deal with on this?
That's where we have to start. We have to start with a little bit of knowledge on old age security. There's actually two big pensions in Canada. There's the CPP, the Canada Pension Plan. That's the one everyone pays into. And then there's the second pension, old age security, OAS. Now, the background here, no one pays into OAS. It's funded by federal tax revenue. It's not going to be based on your employment. So whether you work, don't work, that's not really the criteria. It's based on residency. You live in Canada long enough, they give you a pension. You live in Canada for 40 years after the age of 18, you get the full pension. And you have to start collecting at 65 or later. That's what we'll get into in a bit here, whether or not you should defer it. But the normal start date is 65. And it is a monthly pension. It's fully indexed, and it is guaranteed for your life. So there's lots of perks there, Kevin. A little more about old age security. Why don't you walk us through this?
Yeah, I mean, as we've mentioned beforehand, the normal start age for OAS is 65. And the maximum pension at present for 2021 that you can collect is $626.46, as you can see. Now, the big thing is, we mentioned before, you can't take it early, but you can delay it. And if you delay it, you're going to get a certain percentage each month that you delay it for. So it's 0.6% a month, or roughly 7.2% every year. So a total over that time frame is 36% if you delay until the age of 70, which means more money in your pocket. Now, again, other things that go along with the OAS are the guaranteed income supplement, the allowance, and the allowance for survivors, but that could be an entire video on itself. So we'll just sort of mention it here at that point. And the big factor to remember all the time with OAS, there are no survivor benefits or death benefits. So if something happens to you, it's gone. So that's a huge factor in deciding whether or not you want to defer or not. These are some of the main basic options that we have to deal with on OAS. Anything else that we want to add on that point?
Yeah, there's a couple of others. First off, again, those two pensions, the Canada Pension Plan, there is survivor benefits, there are death benefits there, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about old age security, and none of that exists. You pass away with OAS, and it's just gone. That's the end of it. But last couple of points here with OAS, we have to mention what they call the recovery tax. It's a very nice name. It's a clawback is what it is.
Yes.
If your income's above a certain threshold, you can see the number on the screen there for 2021. Above that threshold, they start taking back your old age security. For every dollar above the threshold, they take 15 cents of your OAS away. So it's like a 15% tax the way it works. And once your income gets all the way up to about 129, that's the 2021 number, all of your old age security is gone. So we have the basics of old age security covered there, Kevin. Let's focus in on the deferral. If you defer OAS, you get a bonus. So let's look at, first off, reasons to defer old age security. Why should folks be thinking about deferring their OAS, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, the deferral basically works for a variety of reasons. One reason you may want is because you can get more money down the road. If you want to have more, if you've got other sources right now that you can capture, that makes it a lot easier. So that 0.6% bonus, at the age of 70, it goes from sort of $626. Now, all of a sudden, in today's terms, it's $852. So that's substantially more. And one thing just to mention on that point is that, remember, on the clawback side, those are individual numbers, not joint combined. So, I mean, if you've got a total of 80,000 between two people, if neither one of them has over that 79%, you're not going to have to worry about. So this is one major point that we have to look at, is why you may want to defer it. What's another point we want to look at for why a deferral can come, Clint?
Yeah, so you're going to get that larger bonus. That's one reason to defer it. And again, keep in mind, indexed pensions for life. So that's certainly a positive. Another, and this is getting more strategic, but it's avoiding that very clawback we just talked about. So imagine for a moment, let's say you're working and you decide, I don't want to retire at 65. I want to continue to work. I enjoy what I do. Well, there'd be no point in taking old age security. If you're working full time, you've already got a decent income, your OAS are just going to be stacked on top of that, which could push you above that threshold. So you could be taking OAS, paying more tax, and then giving some of it back through the clawback. So if you're still working full time, you'd want to push it back. Or perhaps you're part time or retired and you want to draw down some of your RSPs. That could also be a scenario. Hey, Kevin?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are some of the big things. It's a variety of different combinations we can use. Anything, though, to try and avoid that clawback is the big factor. And you're right. The working scenario in today's environment, many people don't want to get rid of that for what's going on, just based on the fact of age and things that can go on. So that's sort of two. We also have a third point that we want to deal with. And basically, when it comes to that, it's, as we just mentioned, reducing the risk of outliving your money. And if you have longevity in your family and, everybody's living into their late 90s or over the 100-year age mark, you're taking it at 65, that's one thing. But, if you got 25, 30 years left after 70, why not put it out that way so that you can collect more? As you've mentioned, it's an indexed scenario that we get for this pension plan. So it's going to consistently increase with CPI and whatever we want to utilize from there. So yeah, the risk of outliving your money is a big factor that can come in. And if you have RSPs and things that you're going through now, this won't happen. We won't have to worry about losing that one at all. So those are some of the key points that we want to deal with on why you want to take it. The reasons why we don't want to take it.
The other side of the coin here, there's always a couple of reasons on both sides. So why you might not want to take it. One is the break even. Now, the idea here is that you're deferring the income. You could have money in your pocket today. You're giving that up so you could have a larger paycheck down the road. Now, it'll break even at roughly 14 years. That's not an exact number, but it gives you an idea. So the way the math would work there is if you waited until 70, from 70 to 84, it would have made more sense to take the money right away. And then after 84, it would have made more sense to wait and get the larger paycheck. So keep that in mind, a 14-year break even. You got to think, when would you enjoy the money, Kevin? Are you going to enjoy it after 84 or enjoy it perhaps in the early retirement years? So something to consider would be that break even. Another one, we talked about this earlier, Kevin, is the survivor or death benefits and the lack thereof.
Yeah, basically, I mean, this is an individual plan for you. It is not meant for your spouse. It's not meant for your kids or anything along those lines. This is money the government's giving you because you've been a resident for this long. You are still continuing to be a resident going forward, and we want to pay you this amount of money. So if you don't take it early, or if you wait and delay it till 70, you could lose out, die a year or two down the road and not collect any of this money. So not having a survivor or a death benefit means, taking it early, or taking it, should I say, at the age of 65 when you can, you may be able to enjoy a lot more of what those options bring. But that's two of the options we've got. There's more for why we do not want to defer. What's another point, Clint?
Yeah, we'll move on to the third one here. And everyone's situation is different, but if you're in a situation where you're in dire straits or you need the extra income, we'll just take the pension. Don't worry about the mathematics. Don't worry about trying to defer to maximize it. If you really need the funds, well, you'd simply want to take it at 65 when it's available. Hopefully folks are not in that situation, but I say need always has to be the top of the list there. You don't want to put yourself in a bad position simply to get a little extra money in 5 years' time. So if you need the funds, I'd say take OAS at 65. And a fourth point here, again, we're looking at points of why you'd want to not defer it, why you want to take it at 65. A fourth on that list, Kevin, is inheritance.
Yeah, basically we're dealing with an estate planning scenario going forward. If you have a decent amount of money that you want to leave for the next generation or whoever you've got that for, whether it's a charity or kids or whatever the case may be, you may want that money there. So if you're delaying your OAS, you're delaying your OAS to 70, you're going to have to start spending some of that money. So if you take it at 65, that way you don't have to deal with that problem. You'll have that at the end of the day, and you can utilize that by giving it down to the next generation. So inheritance becomes that estate planning issue for why we may want to take it here. That's sort of a great occurrence to look at and why we want to not defer our OAS plans. Is there anything else that we want to make on points for these sort of things?
Yeah, well, just to reiterate on that inheritance point, if you do take OAS at 65, or pardon me, if you defer it, let's say you take it at 70, well, there's 5 years there you have to make up the income. So perhaps you're drawing down RSPs, you're drawing down other assets in order to make up that gap. And then at 70, your larger OAS will kick in. But then when you pass away, there's nothing from OAS, right? There's no benefit, there's no survivor. So you could have less of an inheritance in that particular idea. And the concept there, that could be good, that could be bad. It depends on your specific goals, right? We're simply mentioning this would be something to consider. You'd want to make sure you have a financial plan, and then you pick the option that's going to fit your specific financial plan. Most folks, just looking at the data, most folks take it at 65. That doesn't mean there's not a situation where you might want to defer, but that's what the data tells us, is the majority of people take it at 65. And you would have to apply. I think the default, yes, Kevin, is the government just gives it to you at 65 unless you tell them otherwise.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So if you do not apply for this, they will give it to you at 65 because they'll know what the age category is, and then they'll start paying you out, usually sort of the July of that year, whatever the case may be, and you'll start collecting. But if you want to delay it, you're going to have to let them know by filling in a form for there. Again, we want to stress the emphasis that each situation is personal and individual for you. So we are more than happy to help if you want to decide, do I need my OAS now? Should I defer it? What other options do I have? More than happy. If you need to talk about that question with us or anything else in regard to government pensions, please visit us at chatwithclintonandkevin.com. Go to our website, visit our YouTube channel. We'd be more than happy to talk about this topic and a variety of others going forward. But otherwise, I think that we've touched on, should I or should I not defer my OAS? And we've covered most points there. If there's anything else, please let us know. Clint, last words to you.
I think we covered it all. We'll be back again next week with another video. Everybody take care and stay safe.